quite a thorn in Griffin's side, as the J4 and the Lissandra, they want to be close quarters, as does the Lucian, and Swain just wants you to be on top of him. As Gnar is now picked up here at the very end.
Yeah, definitely a champ that Sword can play and can kind of handle that Jace lane. It's hard to handle many Jace lanes for many champions, but does have that ranged auto attack to at least survive a bit.
Well, DWG Gaming here in game number 2. Not quite the same kind of a lead coming out of the draft, not that it really mattered in game number 1, as they could not accrue any of the advantages that they would have needed to make the champions able to keep going. And we'll talk about the team compositions one last time really quickly. Jace, Elise, Swain, Zaya, and Braum for DAMWON. Obviously, quite a bit of explosiveness can occur in the bottom and middle half of the map. Jace should be able to do things on his own, but if he gets even a micro advantage up in top, it should be almost near impossible for the Gnar to recover. And then on the flip side for Griffin, yet again, another team fighting type of comp that seems like it is at a disadvantage. Lucian, Morgana, Lissandra, J4, and Gnar. Obviously looking for explosiveness with the Lissandra. The whole team comp actually centers around her. Not that that's a bad thing when it's Chovy.
Yeah, I mean, play around Chovy. That's a good way to play the game. We'll see if Tarzan can also have that early game effect, this time on the Jarvan. As we are going to jump into game number 2 here. DWG on blue, Griffin on red. Well, they got the Thunder Sticks out again today, and I don't blame them for bringing them out here in game number 2. As Swain was a champ that I played a ton last year. He used to be much stronger, and then they took him down a couple of notches. And he still has that nice pick potential, works well with other champions that have CC, but on his team, he kind of only has Elise and Braum. Obviously, Zaya can do a little bit, Jace even at times, but mostly going to be relying on himself to do a lot of the engaging and picking alongside his jungler. So we'll see if he can have a better game here in game number 2 on the Spellbook Swain compared to the Lissandra that did not look so good.
Yes, the Dematerializer and the Stopwatch there, as well as the Nimbus and the Transcendence from the Sork tree. So here we are. Chovy, you can see, very intent on just getting the wave crash. Doesn't really care about his HP, as it is Lissandra. Does have the ability to just recall, teleport back early on. Not the end of the world. Chovy did already consume a Corrupting Pot, though, in mid lane, as Flame trying to zone Sword out.
You can see that the Gnar is not dunked on quite as hard as some other champs that do come out, especially if you can land a couple of boomerangs early and dodge some shock blasts. You can see that this is actually first pick for not only Showmaker on the Swain, first pick in LCK 2019, by the way, not just for him, but also the first time for the Elise to come out for Punch. Accelerated Shock Blast misses there from Flame, and you can see that Sword actually kind of wins that trade.
Sword won the trade for a few reasons. There was multiple Spellcaster minions that were in really close proximity to Sword when Flame auto-attacks them, and so even though Flame's getting his damage off and his autos, an equal amount of damage is being reciprocated by Sword's minions. And so that was a very peculiar trade that was taken, as Chovy, he just wants to crash this wave and recall. That's actually his only goal right now, and you can see that Showmaker doesn't seem to be identifying that with how back he's playing. Even despite the mana and HP discrepancy, in addition to having an entire Corrupting Potion ahead of Chovy, he's just letting Chovy do this, and it's so bizarre to witness. It's going to be one more Q, and then probably we'll see Chovy recall.
I suppose it could be a bit of a mental block, as looks like he was just spotted there at the end. Punch coming in. Tarzan is reading him like a book. as they know exactly where it is. Punch doesn't seem to get that as the TP's coming in. Nice cocoon, but he's going to be hopped on. Pop there as Punch going to take a bunch of damage. Q comes in.
Lissandra passive.
First blood as well, and that extra damage coming in means that Flame and Showmaker not able to turn this one around. Swain very weak early on as well, not able to do much.
Let's talk about the other nightmare situation that this is.
Are we not done here?
Showmaker didn't get to recall. So he has to recall one more time and then run into mid lane, whereas Chovy, with those buffs, with the Fairy Charm, he's just able to run into mid lane. Mid lane's over, Brendan. It's completely over. We're 4 minutes into the game.
I feel like I'm getting coached right now, you know?
It is completely unable to be salvaged at this point. This is just so awful right now if you're Showmaker on this Swain.
Yeah.
He's like strutting his way back into mid lane right now, that new Swain walk animation.
I know what you mean.
And yeah, things are not feeling too hot for him. Chovy just hit level 5, Showmaker's 4. And XP discrepancies are some of the scariest things in mid and top lane. Take a look at how this all ends up transpiring. As Tarzan, he sees Punch and what he's doing. And then Punch, despite the golems being visible, starts the golem.
Yeah. Smites it as well. Says, no, we can win
jumped on.
Gaze,
Teleport comes in first from Lissandra, and then Showmaker, having to TP from the very middle of the lane, didn't even get to shove the whole wave. And so Chovy ends up getting the double buff. Lissandra passive, pretty cool.
I mean, that was it was a decision from Punch that you really have to question. You could say, hey, you know, maybe he feels like he wins the 2v2. Maybe they want to put on pressure into the top lane with the Jace, but that's just not really happening. And Tarzan is just reading him like a book again. I mean, he's going to come up here as Sword is taking a massive trade against Flame. And, well, okay, they're just trying to bait him in here. Punch is here. You can see that now it's Sword going 1v2 almost on the backside.
Well, Flame is finding himself in a very difficult position here in top lane. He is being forced to recall. He has the teleport available. He is up in CS here on this Jace, but both top laners have yet to recall. Sword likely going to be recall teleporting back as Flame is doing likewise. And as we look at bottom lane, Nuclear and Hoyt, they aren't doing that bad of a job. They're only down a little bit of CS if they... Alright, well. I love it.
Yeah.
Love League of Legends.
Feathers can be hard to handle sometimes, you know. You gotta carry so many of them.
Well, Infernal Drake, first one of the game. This is getting around the point where kills and picks at this stage can definitely lead into a team converting into the capture of it. As J4 is going to be pathing down. Also, RNG is a beautiful Scuttle Crab on the right-hand side. Unless Tarzan wants to make a quick pit stop in top lane.
Yeah.
If this would end up happening, Elise could definitely eat her red buff and then capture the Infernal Drake.
Chovy is just not having any of this. Yeah. He's like, hey, you didn't take Aftershock. I have Aftershock. I win this stream.
Yeah.
And,
he's just up so
did.
much.
Yeah.
You can see Chovy, he's level 7. Swain is about 6.6. Not quite near level 7. Not, you know, just a little bit over 6.5. And now Punch being forced into mid lane, having to reveal himself. And this means that Tarzan, he's going to be able to come down here, clear out the Scuttle Crab maybe first. Yeah, see some pings going down onto it. He'll likely clear this out. It almost looked like he said he was going to do his Gromp first, but looks like he just wants to pick that up. And then after this, you can probably do the Gromp. Chovy shoves in mid. Chovy comes over to blue. You leash the blue, give it back to Chovy, and then maybe path into Infernal, or you just path up into Wolves, and then eventually over to your red count. So the Gromp has been started. This is part of the sequence.
He's feeling pretty good so far once again. Tarzan has been all over Punch this game, kind of like Chovy has been on Showmaker. Showmaker's looked really good against some other guys, but we're going to hold that thought as Black Shield is going to read this one, and no play will come down on the bottom side.
Prompt consumed, blue being leash, gonna be handed over to Chovy now, and now is the moment of truth. Does Jarvan go down, or does he go up? Because if he ends up going up, it shows that there's no intention to get the Infernal for at least the next 3 minutes or so. He will do the Wolf, so he's taking a slower path, and the reason that he's probably taking a slower path is because Jace currently has priority, and so there's no reason for him to rush to the red and then immediately into top lane, because an entire another wave will have to commence fighting against itself in top lane. And so in doing so, DAMWON though, they're going to utilize Jace's priority. And they're going to try to come over to this red. This is definitely a scary spot though.
See if this works out. Chovy is going to get E'd there by the Swain. And you can see that Tarzan was just doing his Raptors. So not really intending on getting on in there and fighting anything. So they just give away that red buff, and now we're looking for another play up here. They're really trying to push the issue here. Cocoon does land onto Sword. W out of Swain here. Sword has to flash away, but there's that E. Gets the damage, lands it in. Will get the kill, but Punch in a lot of damage. It's going to be dunked back. Tarzan actually able to dodge the shock blast there from Flame. And Showmaker, with that ult running, is going to delay this for quite a while. Chovy gonna get in there with the aftershock now, still doing that consistent damage. Can he get the kill? Doesn't look like it has Flame now. Trying to do his own version of the 1v2, but now I feel like he's gotten himself into a pretty weak situation. Now they're trying to turn onto Chovy. The stopwatch comes in, but down will go Flame at the end of it, and they get a double kill over to the side of Tarzan as Chovy survives.
And they just absolutely dismantled DAMWON inside of that 2v2. That's not a Snowdown Showdown, Brendan, but I'll take it. As that was very fun to watch. And it looks like we're going to get another quick view of it. Punch starts the golems, and then immediately turns his attention over to Sword. Showmaker unable to land that skill onto Sword. And then Punch, he goes up into the air, but then down onto Sword, gets Cataclysm, and he ends up going down immediately as Chovy and Tarzan, they don't seem too keen on going in onto Showmaker right away. Now, Showmaker has the cleanse inside of this fight. He gets the cleanse out. Flame doing as much damage as he possibly can. Tries to jump onto Chovy, gets flashed away on, and then makes a quick error by trying to go back onto Tarzan. Flashes out of the way. And then at this point, it was all but over as Swain was trying to do his best to salvage the situation. Even if he would get Chovy, he would then end up going down.
Even a little bit of a wow from the CV Max, as he is even impressed by his own players on that play. Chovy taking the glacial path, getting to safety after the kill was a thing of beauty. And that's got to be a hit to your morale as well if you are DWG Gaming, as nothing seems to be going right for them up against Griffin whenever they play up against Griffin.
And right now, Infernal Drake, 12 minutes. This is around the timing where we would begin to expect that, okay, surely it will be captured in the next coming moments, as priority is there in mid lane. Jarvan invading the red side jungle right now, clearing out some vision. Looks like he's actually waiting. Perhaps he wants to jump onto Punch at his own red, as there's a 2-level difference in mid.
2 levels, 30 CS, and a whole bucket of skill, it feels like today, is the difference in mid. Now they're going to make their way over to the side of the Infernal Drake. 4 members of Griffin going to get on in here, but the TP is committed to by Showmaker. Lightning comes down onto the support. They are able to burst it down. We'll see if DWG can catch anyone on the backside. They want to turn on this Swain here.
Oh, that binding
is going to land max range. Knock up as well, and they kill the Swain before he can even use his ultimate, but they are going to get that second one in the end, make it 3 on top of the Infernal Drake. Only Nuclear gets away. he has to TP on Zaya to safety as Griffin once again continue the pain train.
Nuclear teleporting to that tier 2 turret down in bottom lane so that he's able to get back to the lane and at least begin CSing again. And Colonel Drake picked up by Griffin here in the replay. Showmaker, he's ghosted. It doesn't matter. Chovy runs right behind him. And you can see he's just waiting for DAMWON to commit to the fight. Doesn't matter that Tarzan went down. Inside of this narrow corridor, the Lissandra passive is just going to do way too much.
Oh, he had no soul shards. That's why he couldn't ult. I was like, why is he standing there dying, doing nothing? Well, that's his passive. Not able to pull any of them out of Chovy, who's been denying them, I suppose, in the mid lane.
Oh, sword. Oh man, Flame, you're out of mana.
Is this the bait arena though? Looks like Sword is going to have to respect it on the backside, but DWG can do nothing really but respect Griffin overall in this game, as it is one-sided once again.
And 42 CS lead in mid lane right now. Bottom lane is relatively even, and Flame does have a little bit of a CS advantage up in top lane. I'm getting a little bit nervous here for Punch.
Yeah.
As he feels like
kind of second DWG jungler do it. I'm not sure.
It does look like he's going to be able to get away with this. Doesn't seem like Griffin has any inclination that this is happening. First turret of the game going to go over to Griffin. They have a 4.3k gold lead right now here at 15 minutes. Not the worst gold lead I've seen in recent times.
Yeah, not that bad, you know. Chovy dodges everything from Hoyt, as there were a lot of pings going down, trying to get that fight going onto Lissandra, but nothing could come to fruition here, as now we're going to have a little swap, as Viper and Lahens are going to the top lane. No TP here on Sword, though.
No TP going to be happening. There's no plates either at this stage of the game, so the Rift Herald, it will end up probably just being one of the turrets in some lane. But obviously that mid turret, so healthy. And it doesn't matter if it hits it once. Yeah, and so they're going to try to attack the weakest or the most vulnerable lane right now of Griffin, but you can see that Viper and Morgana, they are pathing to that. They're like sharks in the ocean, man.
Yeah.
You know, blood in the water.
Circling around them.
Yeah.
DWG right now.
And so Herald is going to end up doing absolutely nothing. So is my favorite. Shelly does nothing.
Shelly comes in, smashes her head against the turret, and then dies.
Shelly Rivers.
Kind of a sad story. Doesn't even get paid for it. Well, I suppose Shelly never gets paid.
How do you know?
Maybe they give her a little, you know,
thing
on the
bottom?
backside.
Whoa!
Okay, Showmaker. Viper says, it's my turn to dunk on you now. Chovy has had his fun. Let me show you what this Lucian is made of.
And now, mid-tier 1 turret. Definitely looking like it's going to fall. Not yet, but on its last leg.
Lahens has hit Punch with that binding like 7 times this game.
Well, Flame trying to CS underneath the turret, as Sword is now the one in the driver's seat up here. Take another quick look at this replay here. Showmaker trying to hang on to this lane. And the Black Shield on Lucian, he just goes super ham.
Okay, now we're going to be diving onto Flame here. Trying to turn it around. Doesn't even bother flashing, as he knew he was dead. Down goes the Flame once again in the top lane.
It was DAMWON looking like they wanted the desperation.
Hit him again. It's like Hoyt moved out of the way. Oh, man.
He's a really good spider catcher.
I don't know what it is, but...
all right, well.
Okay.
They're digging their own grave right now, I'll tell you that much, Brendan.
So they don't have a top laner, and okay, we're just gonna go 4v4. It is gonna go the way of DAMWON here. Lots of feathers pulled through, but you guys, you knew the end of this fight before it even began. That's a triple kill over the side of Jovi. Only one to Viper, and even some damage in the top lane to boot. Only the Infernal Drake goes the way of DAMWON, but I don't think the game's gonna last long enough for that to matter.
I really don't know what to say right there. I mean, that has to be a tilt Drake capture. That's the only thing that I can actually theorize about that. As this was a really easy setup. This is like a solo queue game setup.
Yeah.
Very, very easy to coordinate. They start the dragon, even though they know that Chovy is in close proximity. I mean, the dragon in and of itself, yeah, Tarzan's not there, but if he was just a little bit closer, that dragon was not, well, I mean, it was probably still going to be a 50-50, but there is no universe where they will ever get the dragon and get out of there without getting pseudo-aced.
Yeah.
So I don't know what they're thinking. The Infernal Drake, it is worth a lot of gold. Is it worth 4 of their lives at that point in the game? No. It's definitely not.
Yeah.
Maybe this perspective is, well, if we give them 4 kills here, but we get the Infernal Drake, and we're playing for later in the game anyway, I don't really know if that's what they're thinking about. Maybe they're thinking about denying the second Infernal. I mean, I guess that's another way to look at it, but I think at that point, you probably just want to consider Punch trying to steal it, which, I mean, that would be a feat in itself.
Yeah. As he is down 2 levels, and maybe they just said, hey, we don't know exactly. Okay, hit him again. Poor Punch, man. He's just getting dunked again. Oh, the boomerang is going to sail wide. Doesn't matter. As the last auto attack is going to come in, right as the Baron spawns here, they could consider the Baron. And yeah, they're going to go for it here. No mountains or anything like that, but it is 5-on-4, and we do have Chovy with the chance to go for, okay, they're going to actually stop it here. Don't want to take any risks. Can't really blame them for that. I thought, you know, with Chovy level 14 and TP, they would consider it, but they're going to wait until the next opportunity. And you mentioned the tilt Drakes, not to cut you off, but it does feel like every time DAMWON play against Griffin, it's like they've met their worst enemy and they don't know how to handle it. It's like they are just so mentally scarred from the amount of times they've lost to them in Challengers, in LCK, in Kespa Cup. Like in every single match, it's like supposed to be this marquee matchup, this awesome game, but then Griffin just stomped them every time. And of course, Griffin are playing well, but it does feel like there is a gigantic mental block for DAMWON. And what happens if they meet in the playoffs or in the future? I can't ever be optimistic about DAMWON's chances until they get rid of this mental block against Griffin.
Yep. Definitely can't foresee how they would be able to muster up anything as even in the laning phase. I mean, that's the thing that was so big.
Oh boy.
That I was trying to talk about. Is that the players seem to have forgotten how to play the matchups. And that's what I was so perplexed by when the cameras would pan to mid or even top lane at certain points. It's so peculiar. And you know, maybe there's some sort of this effect. I can't remember what pro player it was in North America.
Flame Horizon, by the way, just to say in the mid lane.
Yeah, Flame Horizon
also
in mid.
4 levels.
4 level difference. I mean, it's all right. 3 now, but
yeah.
But nonetheless, I believe there was some pro player that talked about what happens whenever you play against Team Liquid in North America, where players just refuse to try to play the same way, or they allow them to get away with a lot more risks and stuff because it's Team Liquid. And perhaps that's what's going through DAMWON's head here against Griffin.
I think we're both on point. We've seen it happen so many times as well that it's hard to deny. And once teams like Gen G show that Griffin are mortal, then the tides begin to change a little bit, but things don't seem to change in the minds of DAMWON up against Griffin, that's for sure.
Here we just having a little bit of a mini wall state. Mountain Drake is coming up though in 10 seconds, and it's actually probably the perfect dragon right now for Griffin outside of another Infernal.
Yeah.
as it will make taking the Baron that much easier.
He's got a death cap on Lissandra. He's not messing around right now. As, yeah, I mean, he does some insane damage now when he is this far ahead on the Lissandra.
He's going to be able to even hit level 16 soon. Get that rank 3 ultimate. As we can see, Showmaker is about 12 3/4 of the way to 13. Chovy having a phenomenal performance here in this game. And now 24 minutes, another Infernal Drake spawning in 4 minutes. We'll see. Did Nar just say hi to the snowman? That's adorable. I never.
Yeah.
I play LOL with sounds off, so I never.
Yeah, that's true.
That's weird.
Why do you do that? How do you hear enemies coming?
Minimap.
What if you don't have the IEPF to look at the minis?
Then I'm a bad player. Alright.
Oh, okay.
Alright. 16 now for Chovy.
Viper only 1 level up on Nuclear. As he just dodges everything.
Honestly, I do believe that Tarzan and Viper could 2-man the Baron, but the other members on Griffin are not quite the ones where they can just hold off.
Yeah. It's not Scion Galio anymore.
Yeah. Sword is pushing down there in bottom. And this is one of the things that can happen sometimes here in the LCK is that despite the massive gold deficits, nothing is actually being achieved.
Yeah. Teams, you know, they don't want to take any risks at times. Yeah. They say, like, Griffin going for that Baron, that's probably like 85%, maybe even 90% chance that they're going to pick that up, but they're not going to do the Baron until it's 100%. It's kind of the team that Griffin and a lot of the best Korean teams are and have been. Not really the type of team that Sandbox is. They're much more willing to pull the trigger, just get on in there. Teams like Sandbox, even Halma Life at times. But Griffin, willing to take it slow. They know they've dominated them in Game 1, Game 2, very similar. So, not willing to take that risk here tonight.
Chovy here, managing to raise the top tier 2 turret. That's a very big culling.
Yeah.
It missed. Binding missed.
Yeah,
yep.
It missed.
Viper looked like he really wanted to get that mid tier 2. And Griffin are playing this. Oh. Okay. Well.
I mean, it's like binding number 15 onto the spider. How does that even happen?
This is going to go into the BDSM category. if I've ever seen what's going on here.
I mean, the bindings hit the little spiders too, right?
They can, yeah.
Yeah.
That's what's so surprising.
Even though he goes into spider form, it hits him every time anyway.
That is definitely Rihanna on the Morgana. Well, 12, no, not a 12K gold lead, 13K.
Oh.
So,
yeah.
This is about as slow and steady as you can ever go here. And it's so shocking to actually see Griffin,
the ruler skin,
be the ones piloting the team with such a large advantage.
Yeah.
Guardian Angel seems to be the next item of choice for Tarzan. Playing this very, very slow. And I think now is the time, yeah. It looks like they want to get the Baron now. They've decided, nope, never mind.
No, we need control wars in their base, and then maybe we can start it.
They're trying to farm their KDA.
Okay, Nuclear is about to show himself in the bot side. Maybe this is the time, as Nuclear and Flame both have TP. As Sixth Sense, I suppose, gonna come in as TP is being used here, and Sword trying to shut them down. They get the binding here on Abram, but Void is gonna get away unless, oh, real close, is able to get away from that one. You can see down in the bottom lane too, Sword just chasing Flame down the lane, not allowing him to go for any TPs or anything like that, and forcing a fight.
And in doing so, Griffin were repelled off of the Baron.
Oh boy.
Oh man.
Flames alone here and has to flash away. Viper, dash and flash straight in his face, picks up the kill.
And now with Jace going down, they have a cannon minion here in mid. Black Shield comes out not quite on time though. They're gonna now bring their attention to the Baron. Infernal though coming up in 5 seconds.
Now it's Sword versus the world, as the rest of his team is going to start that Baron up here.
Yeah, and Sword's goal right now is not to stop them from coming to Baron, it's to stall them long enough so that they can't do Infernal. And now that Sword has given the rest of Griffin confirmation that they will not be trying to contest the Baron, you can see slowly but surely Griffin members are peeling off the Baron and trying to run to the Infernal. Teleport coming in.
That is going to go the way of Punch here, but Nuclear's getting so low. Sword is going in by himself. Where did the Zaya even go? As Lahen's going to force a flash away. The Swain is TPing into the face. As they can't fight this one Punch. I feel like he's going to get binded again.
Oh man, that would just be the icing on the cake.
Well, nearly able to get that execute, but not quite. Oh, will it happen?
Oh no.
It's getting close to the Morgana.
No. No.
Here it is, here it is. Oh, he got it, yes! Yes!
There is no greater cherry on top. Name a more iconic duo, Brendan. Punch and binding.
Oh, man.
Oh, man. Oh, God. All right, well.
That makes it the perfect day of League of Legends. That's the end right there.
Oh, I love it. I love League of Legends.
Yeah.
All right.
We're not going to see that again. It's not for your eyes.
That's some TOS.
Yeah.
If I've ever seen some. Well, this is probably going to be the Doom push that DAMWON are not going to be able, or in theory should not be able to repel. They're trying their best right now.
Yeah. I feel bad, you know, Swain comes out for his first time, and I don't think we're going to be seeing him again for a long time.
Oh,
As what happened to Nuclear and his health bar? I didn't quite see that one. As Viper really styling on the Lucian tonight. This is excellent performance from him, as well as the rest of the Griffin boys, as we're just pushing all the lanes now.
Lahen's runs backward to buff the incoming wave. Knows that he's not really needed right now.
Yeah.
Yeah,
You
this is
mentioned
it.
Doom push.
This is the Doom push. All 3 lanes are synchronized.
Yeah.
And so, this is about to be all she wrote. All the Baron minions are going to be here as well.
Okay, well.
Alright, well, oh, that's a binding.
Yep,
Okay.
it's going to land on to Nuclear. At least he's got an escape here, but it's not going to escape death this time around as Viper finally goes down, and Griffin kind of just toying with their food, just playing around right now, ignoring the Swain, trying to kill the Nexus, but are they going to be able to do it? Sword trying to get on in. It looks like they will have enough damage in the end, as Lissandra's a good champion. GG! 2-0 to the side of Griffin. They shut him down, and they are going to the finals, guys. They do clinch that first place spot, and it will be one other team up against Griffin for the LCK Spring Split 2019 finals.
And what a true final boss they actually are for Spring 2019 here. Lahen's with another super impressive performance in game number 2. I really feel like, even though Chovy and Tarzan did that very impressive top 2v2, and Chovy with the initial teleport, the lane kingdom from level 3, I feel like Lahen's was really on point yet again. I really think he should get a double MVP.
I wouldn't be arguing with that either. I mean, Morgana comes out, looks fantastic in a lot of these games, and yeah, it's hard to ban out Lahen's. Saw a lot of the picks taken away. Rakan, Galio, Alistair were off the board, and then he's like, well, I'll just go with Morgana. And DAMWON that's another loss, and they aren't secured for playoffs just yet. Keep in mind, guys, it is going to be hard for Hanwha Life to try to threaten that one, as they do have Sandbox and, well, they do have KT as their last matchup. So actually, DAMWON do have to be careful because they're not secured in that spot. And if there's ever a morale crusher, it's going 0-2 to Griffin in a couple of games that don't even look like you're on the same tier.
Yeah. Definitely very off-putting if you are a DAMWON fan as well, as the manner in which they lost. Really, it looked like Griffin versus Dynamic Q. Griffin versus Flex Q, perhaps, would be a more apt way of putting it.
Did kind of feel that way.
And, well, we'll go back to the drawing board and see what they can cook up. Next patch for LCK 9.6 will definitely change up the meta.
Yeah.
I know that we are still on 9.5 here inside of the LCK, but your friend and mine, Brendan, he's coming back with a vengeance. Do you know who? Urgot. Oh, he's coming back.
Yeah.
Not just in top lane either.
Jungle.
Oh yes.
I knew you were gonna say that.
We got some exciting new champions coming in 9.6 that I'm looking forward to casting.
I like that. That's cool. Urgot's making his way back. Vlad didn't get touched.
We've missed him here.
Yeah.
The LCK.
Yeah.
Nico got buffed. So,
yeah.
you know.
Good. I like that.
I like it too.
We did skip over the Nico in game number 2. Wasn't picked or banned, and was banned in the second phase in game number 1. Yep. But we were expecting a little bit more priority on that pick here tonight. So that is another thing to note that wasn't picked in these games, but maybe 9.6 we'll be seeing a lot more.
And this was the 2v2 that really just, I think, put lights out in top lane. Flame, he was trying to do his best with Showmaker, but honestly, Tarzan and Chovy were just so much more in harmony with one another. Showmaker trying to do something at the very end there to salvage that fight. Now, it wasn't quite able to, but honestly, I mean, the lane was sort of over from the teleport in top lane at level 3, level 4. As Showmaker right here getting locked up. Didn't really matter that he was Ghost, because he got Binding as well. And then DAMWON, they made their own death sentence, but this wasn't quite the only one that they did. They dug their own grave with the Infernal Drake later. Right here.
Right here, okay.
This was great. This is, I believe it was Misfits Baron, but this is the DAMWON Infernal Drake, so.
At least he got it, you know. Could have been worse, I suppose, but it's essentially like you're handshaking on a Infernal Drake for death trade.
Yeah.
And that's generally not a good idea.
Another highlight right here.
I don't think we're gonna get the binding on.
We're not gonna get the binding. I don't.
Everybody that was watching understands
Everyone knows
the pain of 0 and 6 Elise that just cannot stop getting binded.
We're on a hitbox. It is an 18-wheeler. You know, we will give it that. And right here at the very end, it was the closest that DAMWON ever really seemed to have come from maybe winning some sort of a team fight, but it just didn't matter. All the Baron minions were just here as well. Nexus ended up going down. Lissandra passive, it's pretty good.
Chovy doesn't seem like he takes any damage in fights either, as Viper as well was just given so much room to style all over them on the Lucian. Did insane amounts of damage, and that's why Lucian has the highest presence in the LCK even to this day. Still up at like 97, 98%. And yeah, there's a reason. Wins lane and eventually gets fed and wins the game pretty hard. So really got to hand it to the Griffin guys for picking that one up. And we were talking about who that MVP was going to be. Perhaps Lehens.
Yeah. Well, I think it should be Lehens or it could be Chovy. I think it has to be one of those two. Viper, he did a lot of damage, but a lot of it was set up for him.
Yeah.
It was like, it's like giving the credit to the guy that scores the point in basketball, but not everyone who led the ball to him. Yeah. All right, so it is Chovy.
Yeah.
1,200 MVP points. It's an okay amount. You know, it's all right.
Yeah.
That will mean that now he is tied with Dev.
Yeah. Up at the top there. Yep. First place. That race still going strong. even though Griffin did secure first place, Chovy still trying to win the MVP of the split.
This is second MVP on Lissandra as well. Last one was on Rise and Galio.
Lots of Zoe and Akali earlier on in the season. But you are exactly
there it
right.
is. Ruler and Summit there trying to catch up, as Clid is the lone jungler there.
Tarzan's there too.
Oh yeah.
Together, tied at 4th. So, yeah, I mean, those are two of the best junglers in
Jungler
LCK.
and then jungle. There's a little bit of a difference, right?
Yeah.
He is the jungle.
Okay.
You got
Tarzan or?
Tarzan.
Oh, okay, yeah. I got it. Thanks, LS.
You're
We're
welcome.
going to hand it over to T-Sun. She's going to translate this interview. We'll be right back.
Thank you very much, guys. This is Susan with the interview translation. And Griffin is going to the final, and they have clinched their spot in the first place. So we're going to be joined by Chovy and Lihan from Griffin. Finally reached the milestone. How do you feel about that? I mean, I always just focus on my performance. I was, I'm a grown up. I don't care about something outside of the game. What about you, Chovy? Were you expecting some MVP? Not really. Just as usual. I just focus on playing game. I see some disagreement going on over there. And we saw CB Max with the thumbs up after game number 1. What kind of feedback did he give you after game? Well, he just said, well done, guys. I mean, I'm a support player who never get outshined. I'm never able to get MVP, so it's very usual. However, today you were performing so well, and you just first picked Galio. So was that okay to let them play Braum and Lissandra? I mean, I'm always confident whatever just my opponents take whenever I play Galio. And you kind of counter-picked Lissandra with Sion. Was that a ready pick for Lissandra? I mean, even before Sion got nerfed, I did practice playing it up against Lissandra, and we were just thinking of some picks to play against Lissandra today, and I thought it was a very viable pick, so I just ended up locking in Sion. And Lihan, actually, you guys are ganked in the very early phase of game, but you managed to survive and absorbed all the damage and kind of gave your revenge on them with Elise. I mean, it happens all the time, 8 out of 10 times. And I just felt something weird is happening, but we were luckily just absorbing all the damage and survive and just fight back. Tarzan's counter gank was really significant. Were you expecting them to push lane that much at that moment? Well, I'm not sure about that. I just don't remember that moment exactly. But we thought that they might try another one, so Tarzan was just waiting in the back so he can just make a counter gank. And Lihan, we want to know about you're checking the Herald that they were trying so early. I mean, I was just trying to place my control ward in the Herald pit, but I couldn't see the Herald in my vision, so Tarzan was yelling like he's trying the Herald, so we just wanted to stop it, and we were able to make kill and also take the Herald. So your one attempt to place the ward brought so many good results. You were very lucky, and I think there was an outplay. I mean, it's all from your play, placing that ward. And Chovy, we want to ask you about your item build. First item was Redemption. I mean, a lot of Griffin players are always going support items, even including the Redemption Olaf. Well, I just saw someone playing Redemption Sion, so I just tried it in the solo queue for several times. And every time I played it, when I put damage with my Redemption, actually I am able to make kills quite easily than I expected. And also it's a very useful item during the skirmishes, and also it's a support item, so it's really cheap. So I just bought it.
그때 타잔 선수도 솔랭에서 참고를 했다고 했는데 초비
I mean,
선수도
the
그랬고요.
Redemption Olaf was also from
그런데
solo
먼저
queue.
가게 되면
It's really
다른
interesting.
팬들을 어쨌든 늦게 두르게 되기 때문에
However,
그 부분에
buying
있어서는 팀원들을 많이
Redemption
믿어서
early,
가능한
which
건가요?
means they're buying all their core items very late. So does that kind of concern you?
뭐라 해야 되지? 그냥 CS 먹어서 돈 챙기고
I mean, if you just
그냥 코어팀만
get money
생각하는
by
것 같아요.
farming,
네, 야,
well,
초비 선수의 또
it doesn't really
멋진
matter.
성구원, 사이언까지 만나봤고요. 또 이 세트에서는 리산드라를
In
본인이
game 2,
가져오셨어요.
you played
네,
Lissandra on your
이런
side
말씀을
this
하셨잖아요.
time.
우리는 리산드라를
And CV
반반
Max
드라ft
also
이상으로 평가를
will
한다.
mention that
우승하다고
Lissandra
평가를
is
한다.
a win Sandra. It's a really viable pick right now. What are your thoughts about Lissandra right now?
거의 모든 챔피언 상대로
I mean, I think
우승을
Lissandra
가져가는 것 같아요.
has a priority
단계에서.
against any kind of champions in the laning phase.
초비 선수가 나는 내가 리산드라를 해도 편하고
And Chobi, you also said that you are comfortable whenever you play Lissandra or your opponent playing Lissandra, and it also happened today again. So which game was easier for you, game 1 or 2? Game 1 was easier. It was more comfortable because I knew that I will never die. So I felt really comfortable playing that game.
보여주셨고 이 세트에서는 리산드라로 정말 완벽한 경기력 보여주셨습니다. 10분대 탑에서의 전투 기억나시나요?
And do you remember this fight at the top lane around 10 minutes?
완벽한 기량 차이를
It was a very long skirmish over there.
상황이 어땠나요?
So what was going on over there?
보자는데 좀 상태가 안 좋아서.
Well, I mean, I tried to open a fight there, but we were actually very low in health.
걸로 들어간 것 같아요.
But we were just able to focus till the end of the fight, so I was able to survive.
인상적이었고요. 이게 많이 나왔던 말이 이거는 담원도 잘했고
I
그리핀도
mean,
잘했고
the
정말
commentator was
누구의
actually
기량
saying that
차이다라는
both
얘기들이
teams were doing
나왔는데요.
so
이런
well,
차이는 어디서
and the gap
발생한다고
wasn't really big
생각하세요?
difference at that fight.
서로 잘했는데.
Yeah, I agree that we all did well.
이 전투가 벌어지기 전에.
But before this fight, there were a difference in the scaling between the players, so that was a result of that gap.
성장이 이렇게 교전에서도 좋은 모습으로 나타났습니다. 자, 리엔즈 선수
And Lian.
이제는 그리핀이 위에서 기다리는
Griffin
입장이에요.
will be waiting on their other teams to reach up to the finals.
마음가짐일 것 같은데요. 어떠신가요, 기분이?
So how do you feel about that? I mean, I'm really happy that we're going straight to Jamsil, but the split is not over, so we're gonna just do our best, even better than we always did in the upcoming 2 series.
초비 선수도 이제 결승이
And
올
Chobi,
때까지 두 경기 이후에도 또
after the
계속해서
2 matches,
경기력 유지하는 게
You have a long
중요하잖아요.
break to
어떻게
maintain your
준비하시는지
performance, so how are you gonna spend that time?
그냥 게임 많이
Well,
하는
I'll
게
just
다른
play a
것
lot of games. That'll be it.
게임 수를 많이 유지를 해서 경기력 유지하시길 바라겠습니다. 오늘 팬분들이 정말
And
좋은
there were a
자리에
lot of fans
오셨습니다.
supporting you guys out here at the
선수,
arena.
팬분들께 한 말씀 부탁드릴게요.
Any message for them?
원래는 제가 MVP 안 받고 초비가
Well,
받아서 1등해야 되는데
Actually, Chobi should have gotten the MVP to reach the first place, but I'm really happy that I was able to pick up the MVP, and I always appreciate all the love and support from my fans, and we're
네,
gonna
여러분,
do our
리엔즈
best to
선수에게
prepare our
큰 박수
upcoming
부탁드립니다.
matchups.
초비 선수에게는 또 남은 두 경기도 있으니까요. 이렇게 배려를 많이 해주셨고요. 초비 선수도
Chobi,
팬분들께
any message for your
감사하다고
fans?
한 말씀 부탁드릴게요.
경기하는 거
Well,
해주셔서 항상
Thank you
감사하고
for
앞으로도
watching us
응원해주셔서
performing,
감사드립니다.
and I always appreciate
네,
all your
여러분,
support.
초비
Thank you.
선수에게도 큰 박수 부탁드릴게요. 정규 스플릿 1위 확정 다시 한번 축하드리고요.
Once again,
남은 두 경기도
congratulations
계속 기대해 보도록
Securing your
하겠습니다.
spot at the
우린
first
참여
place, and thank you
감사합니다.
very much for this interview. So this will be
네,
the end of the
리엔즈 선수,
interview with
초비
Lian
선수
and Toby
만나봤습니다.
from Griffin,
중계상
and I'm
연결할게요.
going to pass it back to our casters. Thank you.
Thank you, Ji-sun, for that wonderful translation as Chovy gets the tie there in the MVP. Lehens, I love the grin he's got on every single interview as well. It just feels like he's having a great time, as he should be, as they have secured the final spot. They're going straight to Damshu for that final match.
Yep. And they managed to get it for themselves. And on the other side of the bracket, though, the race still remains for the 9th place spot. If you want to call it a
I thought you were
race.
going to say the 5th place spot. That's the playoff spot, you know?
Well, that spot still remains too, Brendan, but come on.
Yeah,
All right.
true.
Afrika and KT, I mean, they're neck and neck at -12. So that's the real nail biter on that side. And tomorrow's matches Afrika versus Kingzone will end the night, whereas Hanwha Life versus Sandbox will kick it off.
It's a gigantic match for Hanwha Life,
yes.
and even a big one for Sandbox too, who are currently trying to edge ahead of Kingzone and get third so they don't have to play in the wildcard match. That's really important for them, that both of those teams actually win the match. Obviously for Hanwha, it means the difference between potentially making playoffs and not being there at all. So I feel like there's more on the line for them, whereas Sandbox has secured a playoff spot, but would like a better seed in the playoffs.
Well, that's it for tonight. And come back tomorrow to see what ends up happening with those standings at the end of the match. I mean, not too much else today. Tonight was actually a really great night of League of Legends.
Yeah, it was awesome. It was a lot of fun. So thanks for joining us once again, guys. We love you. Good night.